Hey Capricorn, welcome to Swedish Dharma Tarot. My name's Christina. I'm a psychic, medium, healer and artist living and working in southern Sweden. Now I have shuffled the deck a little bit beforehand. We're going to do some more shuffling. And a little boy, a Prince of Cups, fell out. Now he could be a child or else he's a young man. We'll see what turns up in your reading. But this was interesting because the oracle cards that I work with, I have 3 different decks. I shuffle them and a card falls out before I start the video to save time. Angel Tarot they're called. And you got number 18, the Moon, Archangel Haniel. Now that is really makes sense with the Prince of Cups there. If he's a Cancer or Scorpio or Fish, he's certainly a child or a young man of the Moon. The Goddess Guidance Oracle, you got 2 cards there. You got Siege, Quiet Time, and Mary Magdalene, Unconditional Love. Beautiful. So lovely. And then in the Yogic Path Oracle deck, looks like this. You got Pratyahara. Looks like that. So we'll keep shuffling for a while and keep asking Spirit what you would like to tell Capricorn, please. What would you like to tell Capricorn? We have a King of Swords here that fell out. So he's a Libran, Aquarian. I'm so sorry. I'm such a klutz, really. It's embarrassing. How can you have a whole career and not shuffle, not being competent enough to shuffle the cards? Well, God knows. And now they're all back to front. So the King of Swords, Libra, Aquarius or Gemini. Here we have another card. Oh, and a little boy or a Prince of Swords as well. So let's see. Please, Spirit, what does Capricorn need to know? That'll have to do it. The tarot deck that I work with, here we have the Queen of Pentacles. We have probably a mother and a wife. And there's tarot, the Goddess Tarot, made by an American artist called Chris Waldher. So they've been around for a while, but they're wonderful, and they have taught me how to work the tarot cards. Yeah, it's fabulous. I'm so grateful. And the whole major arcana is made up of goddesses from all over the world. Well, Goddess Tarot. And different time periods. So they're very cosmopolitan and they're very powerful. And I'm so grateful. So here we are. We have a frightened wife and mother here. I wonder why. Yeah. 7 of Swords next to the Queen of Pentacles. Something's changed here in the family life, and there is no longing back for her part, and a lot of heavy duty energy has been released, but in that process she's also lost a lot of power. I wonder if maybe her husband has had a drinking problem or something like that, some kind of dependency. And of course that affects her too. His sobriety affects her too. And she's maybe, where she earlier was worried about him drinking, now she's worried about him starting to drink again. So, yeah. This husband, he's not feeling very, very well. He has problems accessing his feelings. I think he's a very sensitive man, and he's just closed off emotionally. But he is communicative, so you can talk to him, dear Cappy, and you can tell him how you feel and what you're worried about and how you're worried, and ask him, how can you help? Because it's important to have the support of the wife and the family. Very important. At the same time, there's a certain risk with the spouses of people who have a dependency, because there's often a codependency there. So that's something for you to become very aware of, I think, Capricorn, if you would like to look up the dynamics between dependency and codependency in order to help both of you to the best possible solution in the future. I don't see him rebound. Is it what's it called? Oh, I don't remember what it's called. When you're sober, and then after a certain amount of time you do it again, and then you straighten up, you're sober. And I know for most addictions it requires 3, for goodness sake, Christina. Återfall. Or I just want to say rebounds, but it's the wrong word. But I think you might understand anyway what I mean. Excuse my English. So it's a good thing to be prepared for, to know how and what you're going to react. Not if it happens, but when it happens, because it's almost guaranteed. But I see you managing it very well, and I see him managing very well, and he's very loved by his boys. And the thing is, he's not feeling very well, so he could have some kind of diagnosis. It's not unusual for people with ADHD. I'm one of them. But it's not unusual for us to have addictions of different kinds. I'm lucky in that sense. But it's a way of self-medicating for anxiety and depression, which often torments us. So he should have a closer look at his mental health, really, because there are medications, and maybe even more helpful, there are different therapies. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, excellent for people with addictions and even people with ADHD. So I can highly recommend that. So that's what the tarot said. Try not to get too frightened, dear Capricorn, because this will be fine. You just need to, get informed. Yeah. So the moon, Archangel Haniel, what does it say? Important parapsychological insights. Yeah, important intuitive insights. That's good enough. Happenings behind the scenes. Let go of fears that hold you back. That's a really good one here, I think, because your husband's feelings, the moon's all about feelings, and your husband's feelings aren't what they should be, but he can get help. But your fear can also trip him up or trip you both up. So please find out a bit how that dynamic works between dependency and codependency. And then we have Siege, quiet time. Take some quiet time alone to rest, meditate, and contemplate. Well, I think both you and your partner would do really well to meditate a little bit. And then the Unconditional Love by Mary Magdalene. Love yourself, others, and every situation, no matter what the outward appearances may be. That's very important advice for a family with addictions, because what we have the tendency to do is we cover up. Yeah. Nobody, as a child, nobody needs to tell us, don't say anything about dad's drinking. I grew up with an alcoholic father, and I didn't tell anybody. No one knew during the time that I was at school and growing up, because it's an unspoken rule that this is the family secret. At the same time, that secret becomes a really heavy burden to bear. So no matter what the outward appearances may be, it's very important, because it's all about that, keeping the facade, which is quite atrocious for everybody involved. Better to be upfront, better to talk about it. Don't have to talk with anybody about it, but with somebody who stands close to you and your husband and your family, not to complain about your drinking husband or whatever it might be, but to be honest and frank and say, this is what's happening in our family. And so sometimes it's a bit difficult. And then you can also, with the new information that you've looked up, discuss it in a normal way with all the family members, with the boys and with the husband. Because it's also, it's a generational disease, if you want. Yeah, it is a disease. Addiction is disease. And it goes from generation to generation. And it also keeps the gender most of the time. So boys to alcoholic fathers are much more at risk of developing alcoholic dependencies as they get older than the daughters. And the opposite is also true. Alcoholic mothers to daughters, well, the daughters are much more at risk than the sons. So create awareness. I've made sure that my children have known that this is the lineage they come from, and that they have to be very observant about their drinking habits. Touch wood. They're 21 and 38 now, and so far so good. At least for the 38-year-old. The 21-year-old has a bit to go. But yeah, I'm hopeful. Please talk. Please talk. It's the worst thing we can do, is to be silent about this family secret. Terrible. Yogic path card was Pratyahara. That's a yoga card. Control of the senses. That's interesting, because that's exactly why we overeat, or why we drink or take other kinds of drugs. It's to control our senses, really, our bad feelings. Self-medication, as Dr. Phil would say. Recently, you've let go of some distractions in your life, and everything has upgraded since. You realize that holding on to things, foods, stimulants, or people only keeps you anchored to the physical world. Truth lies in letting go of all that is not you. The daily coffee, piece of chocolate, social media addiction, or need to buy, those were once such a part of your identity, but have now diminished. This is the time to go deeper into Pratyahara and let go of any attachments, even those that are less obvious. Continue to meditate, which draws you immediately into Pratyahara and illuminates what it is you're holding on to. It is only from here that you can listen to the truth within and act accordingly. Well, I think that went straight to the core of the matter, didn't it? It will all be fine. Just get some information. What's happening and why is it happening? And when I say and do this, why does he say and do that? Because it's all interrelated. It's a dynamic that's very destructive, but can be eased, and it can even be pretty well eliminated with the right kind of treatment for you both. Thanks for watching, Cappy. You'll soon be happy again, not fearful. And most importantly, don't forget to breathe. Bye.